All right. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. We're here. We're lovely. It's all three of us back together, except still in different places. Not in the same place like we were a couple episodes ago.
Welcome back, Wesley. Where have you been?
What is
I
family?
was doing a little family get together. We went down to the river and we had some, grilling to do, like hamburgers, hot dogs, chips and dip.
You were there for weeks.
We were
You
there
went
for
to the
one day.
quote unquote river. It sounds
we're
like a
just there.
spiritual thing.
It was great. And then we went
Did
to
you come back embracing our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
I
No,
was doing salvia.
never. We went
Oh,
to
it's the Salvia, that river. Oh, I know that river.
He went on the magic river. The river
went on a
ride.
vision quest.
we went on the river. It was cool. We rented some blow up kayaks, or inflatable kayaks, and then just did our thing on the river. Kaya went with us. We left Eliza at home because she was actually feeling a little sick, and it was probably good we did. There wasn't really
So you
anything
just let her hang out.
for
That's
her
cool.
to do.
Gave her the
Left her in
switch.
the living room.
We'll be back.
We sent her to the
Automatic
grandma's
feeder.
house. Yeah, that'd be hilarious if you could get a toddler to eat out of one of those automatic feeders. Man, that'd make your life so much easier.
I feel like you'd have to stop your toddler from eating out the automatic feeder. I feel
Maybe
like that's
that's
something
true.
parents
Well,
got to deal with.
you'd have to time it, I guess, right? So it
It's for
only
the
let out a
cats,
certain amount
not
of
the
food.
kid.
A certain amount of food. Although Eliza's pretty good about not overeating. When she's done, she's done. And Kaya does the same. Their kids trust their hunger signals way more than adults do.
Their
Don't worry,
father, on the other hand,
Cannot.
Don't worry, they're gonna learn
Hey,
from the best.
I've been disciplined though. The past 2 weeks, I've been eating better, eating less. I'm on it. I'm building up momentum, guys. The
have you
health.
stopped buying the
kick.
package of cookies?
Yes. There's no cookies. There are cookies in the house. Jen bought them, but
Are they
we've
hidden?
established no, but we established that she has self-control and they're flavors I don't like, so I don't touch them. It's great.
Well, that's a solution.
That's the secret: is if you're gonna have treats, have flavors that I don't like, and
That's how I felt too. Sometimes when you desperate, you up, you late, you lit. Tony has definitely left cookies at my crib, and I'm like, these shits is nasty. But man, when it's 1 a.m. and the
doesn't matter.
options are a little bit limited, and you in that zone, you like, man.
Also
look,
known
like,
as the munchies.
Yeah, it's like the green goblin. It's like the green goblin mask calling to me from the cupboard. Coward, leave me alone. I'm just Norman Osborn on the couch, just curled up in a ball. No.
I like that you're like also doing a Gollum impression right now as well. It's the same character.
Just
My
the
precious.
Same, a little bit of Sidious in there. Do it.
Even though you hate Samoas.
Yeah, them joints is nasty.
You don't like Samoas? Aren't those the good ones?
I'm glad. Oh, you remember that, huh? Yeah, I hate Samoa. You reminded me how much I hate them.
That's not the go-to.
Yeah, I was like, wait, do I hate those?
No way.
Yeah, I do hate those.
I like
Thanks for reminding
the
me.
lemon ones and the
lemon ones? Oh, awful.
Thin Mints are alright.
Yeah, those are.
That's a doorstop right there. The lemon ones.
No, they're too light. They can't stop any doors.
I miss the peanut butter chocolates, the s'mores.
Okay. All right.
The tagalongs, and the Thin Mints.
All right, Agatha, Wes.
Can we talk about Agatha? All right, so Agatha All Along. They've changed the name a bunch of times, and it's unclear to me whether that was intentional or they just thought that this name would fit better, because then they did this whole riff on it where they like changed the name a bunch of times in a row. So
what were the other names?
That was the bit.
Agatha
something
All American.
Darkness.
Coven of Chaos.
Oh, yeah,
They had
yeah.
a couple names.
Yeah. So they've settled on Agatha All Along. The good old Catherine Hahn starring here and getting to flex her muscles in comedy, drama, kind of everything in between. She's just been all over the place in this one, which is pretty interesting. So I don't know if you guys remember the end of WandaVision, because I definitely do not. I know that White Vision.
Surprise!
White Vision is like
White
flies
Vision,
out of space and has never
White
been
Vision
seen
and Black
again.
Santa.
That was 4 years ago. White Vision. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind if the White Vision just left the planet.
No, I mean, we just have no idea. He made the whole Ship of Theseus thing and then just busy bounced. And
we don't know where White Vision is.
We don't. No, and it's been 4 years, 4.5 years, and we're never going to find out.
Twitter
I think.
HQ.
He said Twitter HQ.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Wanda shows up in the Doctor Strange movie in Multiverse of Madness and has a huge role there in
And
fucking
dies.
shit up. Yeah, fucking shit up, dying, all of that good stuff.
She dies from a mountain slide.
Yeah.
Right?
That seems real.
right?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly
She
died.
died
Even-
with the little comic book asterisk next to it.
Even though she
From a rock
spaghettified
slide.
Mr. Fantastic in a completely crazy way.
Well, she could be a glass cannon. We'll see.
Whatever
I don't-
that means.
I don't know
sure.
what that is.
Yeah.
Y'all never heard the
Never
term
seen
glass
one
cannon?
of those at the circus.
Wait, y'all never heard the term a glass cannon?
No.
It's like a term to describe
Illuminate
something that can,
us.
like literally a glass or like a paper tiger. Have you heard that term before?
Yes.
So same
Paper tiger,
idea.
yes.
Something that can dish out large amounts of damage but can't take a lot of damage.
All right, that feels not like what we've seen from Wanda, but it could be.
My point is, her
That
being able
feels
to wreck
like
Mr. Fantastic doesn't mean that she just can't get killed by
Oh,
something.
I see.
Like,
Yeah.
That's,
But I
that's
also
more
don't
so
think
my point.
I also don't think she got killed by the landslide.
Oh, no,
Do
she
you?
definitely didn't
Yeah.
get killed. We didn't see
Okay.
a body. She's just on
Yeah.
ice indefinitely until the story needs her. But,
Sounds good. All
I
right,
just want to
so
point out that in most altercations, I am the glass cannon, and that usually I initiate by firing, and then I hide behind my friends.
yeah. Or my son Brian can dish it but can't take it. That's the epitome
Yeah.
of a glass.
Like I throw some
throw the
silverware
disc,
and then
yeah.
run behind the
some
bigger guys.
silverware.
You know,
Fork incoming.
that-
Z,
the
you
poke-
got this, right? Z,
Yeah.
you got this.
Yep, the Pokemon that can do mad damage, but if you tap them, they roll right over.
All right, so one of you two, please remember and tell us, what do we know about Agatha? She was a pivotal piece of WandaVision, and apparently people loved her so much they thought, let's make a show about Agatha. So Brian, Sav, which one of you wants to illuminate us, remind us, what do we know about Agatha? Who is she? What's she about?
Want me to take this one, Brian?
Go ahead.
I'll take this one. So we last saw / were introduced to Agatha on the mid and like throughout, but then we know who she was towards the back half of WandaVision. We know that Agatha Harkness is a witch. She's been around for hundreds of years, and her entire plan through WandaVision was through the hex that Wanda created. She was trying to figure out how to obtain Wanda's power. Her whole thing is being able to absorb magic that is being directed at her. Her main plan was to manipulate Wanda to take advantage of her full potential and ultimately try and take her magic from her, taking advantage of Wanda's fragile psychological state and everything. The show ends up ending, however, with the hex being broken, Wanda breaking out of it, and Wanda ultimately being in a conflict with Agatha, where Wanda gets to kind of tap in more into her true power. It leads to her defeating Agatha, and then she decides to kind of curse Agatha on the way out by putting a hex on her that makes her think that she's in a TV series. So was introduced as the WandaVision primary antagonist, ends up being defeated, is left in a state of limbo. Now we're 3 years later in the same town. I believe, was it Westview?
Yeah, Westview.
Westview.
The small town of Westview, which is in New Jersey. Is that in New Jersey?
Yes.
Say your neck of the woods. That's your people, huh? Brian?
Yes, people.
It's not a real place, but it could be a real place.
Yeah, but that's your. Yeah,
I have driven through many a Westview.
Yeah. And so here we are with Agatha All Along now.
They need more Guidos,
Wanda
though.
is been defeated and is gone. She's out of Wanda is gone and out of the picture. Agatha seems to have broken out of her trance, or she's trying to figure out what's going on, and that sets the premise of where we are with the show.
I think one other detail I want to add is that at the end of WandaVision, Wanda baits Agatha, right, into trying to use her powers, but Wanda puts up hexes all over Westview, right? Like, if you recall, Wanda had a whole dome of like chaos witchery energy that was trapping the residents of Westview. She puts up runes that prevent Agatha from using her abilities, and basically Agatha's whole deal backfires, right? And so she loses all of her witch powers in the process. And so when she is put in this perpetual TV state, this hex from Wanda, Agatha is also entirely powerless in that scenario. So that's where we start off in Agatha All Along.
Yep.
I really like the opening where we're just like, oh, it was unclear to me where we were, how we were, and I had not rewatched WandaVision at all. So I was just like, oh, this is like interesting. Like we're kind of in an alternate thing, or she's in a dream state, or she's like playing a detective, and then I don't know. I kind of like how they did that because I was just like thrown off by it, but also it was kind of fun just to see her be like this detective who was clearly up to no good, but also like I don't know. It was just interesting to see her get stuck, and then the process of her breaking out of this show is also pretty interesting. And then
Realizing
we're
she's
kind of
doing a bit. Like when you
Yeah.
realize, oh, it took me a second, I was like, are they doing a bit right now? These camera angles are so dramatic. These lines are almost like campy. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they're definitely doing a bit right now. All right, let's see where they go with it.
Yeah, they were like over. Yeah, I mean they were doing what WandaVision did in the beginning, right? They were like overplaying that genre
But
of
worse,
show.
because the whole town was just hitting her with the what is it? Is it the Truman Show? Is that what they hitting?
It was
Like
kind of like that, huh?
Yeah, it was just like, dude, they really treated her like the eccentric character in your neighborhood. Y'all had that growing up? Like, there's that really eccentric character, and they're clearly not all there, but they're relatively harmless. So you just like, no harm, no foul. Just live and let live. All right, Miss Gladys, you enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and like the neighborhood Miss Gladys, she ends up walking around naked with no clothes in the neighborhood. The neighbor is trying to really focus on like, you don't have any clothes. Can you
That
put
was
some
the
clothes
best
on?
part though, because that's when she was finally lucid.
And she's like, this cannot be. And he's just like, you're wacky right now. Like, go put some clothes on. You're sexually harassing me, basically.
When she batted
And
that
he's
man's
trying-
jacket down, it was just like, F your jacket.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this
And
is
he's like, I'm
great.
not trying to catch any charges here. Like, what are we doing?
I love when she comes to and she's like, hey, we got to get in the car. And she goes and sits at her desk where there's a fake driver's seat made out of like cardboard boxes and strings and stuff. And then she's like, oh, wait a minute. This is not a car. But this is what I was driving when I was in the Hex.
She was so pissed. Shout out to her acting and all that, because there was a moment when you see her like break out of it, and you can see the actress's face just shift to in the show to just, man, what is this shit? Oh man, that was her acting has been. She is so good. Was it Catherine
Han?
Han? She is so good at swapping between campy and serious and dramatic in like the flash of an eye. Like, she's one of the most naturally charismatic actors I've seen in like quite some time.
I think she does too much of the campy, though. I don't know if that's a thing.
Too much of the campy? You mean in the first episode?
Yeah.
I think that was the point.
Kind of all the time sometimes, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like overly done. It's like distracting.
I don't, because she goes from being a complete dick to just being serious. I don't know. I think she does it in a way that's like, yo, she just has that really adult Mean Girls energy, and that's just how it comes off. And I'm like, yeah, they got people like this out there.
And she does a really great job of using that as her emotional armor as well. So there's depth to it, and you understand, oh, why she's laying it on so thick all the time, and shivving people away from her. It's for protection.
Yeah, they're building up to it too, which I've actually liked these last couple episodes of, okay, cool, it's not just a stick, there's more to it. But she really does seamlessly swap between doing a bit, but she's actually being serious. But I guess we'll have other questions we can talk more about it. But Wesley, we can go to the next question?
All right, so was this a show that you were hyped for? Because let me tell you, I was not hyped for it. I didn't care about this show at all. So, Sav, with that in mind, were you into this show? Were you kind of, let's wait and see?
It was a mix of let's wait and see, but I can't pretend that I was super excited at first. I think what a lot hinged on for me with this show was, are they gonna let this show breathe and be its own thing and do its own thing? If they which I've been the trend with Marvel shows, I think in general, right, is that when they let the show kind of just be its own thing, even if it's not something that would have pulled you in, it tends to be at least a good, well put together show. Or is it trying to do too many different things at once and it feels like an unfocused mess?
Ahsoka, we're looking at you.
I'm not looking at Ahsoka, but I'm thinking more of like, Falcon Winter Soldier, which again, I know writing stuff got in the way, but like I think that show
Only writing stuff.
I mean, I think we talked about how the whole plot got derailed because of COVID, and so they had to rewrite the entire conflict. I think that really did do the show a disservice. But Marvel shows are at their peak when they know their lane, know what they want to be, and lean into it. My thing with Agatha beforehand was I don't know what this show wants to be. I don't know the tone, the vibe. I don't even know the rating. Like even the rating of the show might give you a feel of what they're going for. So I knew what I thought would make it interesting, Wes. I didn't know if they were going to do that or not. So I was very cautiously optimistic. I really didn't form a real opinion until I watched the first 2 episodes, which I guess we'll talk about.
Brian, how'd you come into the show?
Well, just real quick, speaking of rating, this show is a little spicy. It's definitely for a Marvel show, for a Disney Plus show. I'm kind of surprised. But that is all to say that, I came in with very little expectation. I was definitely going to watch it. Catherine Hahn, Agatha was a great character from WandaVision. But if you ask me who exactly she was in WandaVision and what happened in WandaVision, last month, I would have told you, wow, I feel like Wesley because I don't remember any of it.
I appreciate your honesty.
So it's been a long time, right? I think it's been 3 years, maybe
4 and a
longer.
half,
4 years since WandaVision came out.
I think that was the first Disney Plus show, so that would have been early 2020.
It was the first
right
show
before the pandemic kind of took off.
and I just remember there was a lot of hype about Catherine Hahn because she gave such a great villain turn in that series. But
yeah, Agatha All Along was a banger. That song, banger.
Exactly, and she had the whole intro baked into the episode, right? And that was a moment. But 4 years is a long time for a moment to last, and it certainly did not in my mind. So again, this was a show I was going to watch. Part of that MCU. I was curious where they were going to go with it. I remember Catherine Hahn and Agatha being a great character, but I couldn't tell you why. And I didn't know if I was going to day one this. And we were talking about this on text, right? Like it seemed like all of us were very.
It was on our radar.
None of us were 100% onto this. So
no.
So by the time I get into it, pleasantly surprised.
All right, sounds good. I think for me, I wasn't that excited because Agatha was fine in WandaVision for me, but I didn't care to like really know more about her or where she comes from or what she's doing next. She was just like kind of villain of the day. To me, it felt like in that show, and so I don't know. I was like, I don't really need a whole show about Agatha. Like, why can't I get more shows more movies? Like, let's bring Shang-Chi back. Let's do let's do some actual like big time heroes. I wouldn't mind another Spider-Man movie sometime soon. Like I'd rather see movies of like these bigger heroes right now that we've sort of been not deprived of, but I've sort of been disappointed with some of the bigger movies, and so like I want to experience one of these big movies that I really really enjoy. I guess we're all a little bit chasing that high of Infinity War and Endgame a little bit, right? We're wanting those types of movies where we're just like super invested and really enjoy it. And Deadpool sort of brings that out. It was fun. It was like a great time to watch, and I really enjoyed that movie. So, I guess I would like to experience more of that rather than smaller shows about side characters who I don't really have much investment in and didn't think like they needed their own show. Which I guess we'll talk about when we talk about Penguin, like kind of the same idea. It's like, well, how into a show for a different sort of minor villain character are you into, Let's get into it. So spoilers from here on out.
Hold on, you want another Spider-Man movie? We've gotten like 10 in the last 25 years.
I know. I really like the Tom Holland Spider movies. I don't know.
Dude, we got like 3 Tom Hollands, 2 Andrew Garfields,
it's just
3
an example.
Tobey Maguires, the 2 Spider-Man
2
movies.
animated ones.
Like Jesus, how much more epic Spider-Man you want?
I could
your Spider-Man. Get your Spider-Man fit on next time. Get your Spider-Man pajamas.
It's like
I'm laughing with Savon, but I agree
like pizza.
with Wes.
Oh my lord! You're still making
You can't go wrong with Spider-Man.
Clearly,
I mean, you could, but they've done a good job with them.
I don't mean to derail, but that statement was just like
it's like pizza.
Spider-Man?
I want I want pizza every 2 weeks. I want pizza. Like,
It's like
it doesn't matter that
FIFA,
I
you
have.
want one every year. You want that shit to come out like a COD game. sorry. Let's keep it moving. That
It
was
doesn't
funny
have
to
to
me.
be. It could. Hey, I'll take another Iron Man movie. Like, let's just go with it. You know,
Most of the Iron Man movies sucked.
That's kind of true. Number 1 was great though. First one, awesome.
Hell
Very
yeah.
surprising. The third one was better than it seems. Like when you go back, it's like, oh, this is
Are you
actually
sure?
pretty
That
decent.
movie
I
was
think
not
so.
good, bro.
Are you sure?
The second one, I did not enjoy
What
the
if
second one.
Paltrow had powers in that movie?
Yeah, it's
I'll
fine.
watch 2 over 3.
You watched
what-
2 over 3. Interesting.
Not that.
Let's
odds
not
is
have that
great.
conversation, but
Yeah.
I disagray. I'd watch 3 over 2. The
Like
Whiplash
Whiplash
character
over
I didn't-
Mandarin.
I didn't like the Whiplash character.
They're both awful.
At least it was a funny twist on Mandarin.
Oh, funny twist. Funny the way getting punched in the face is funny. It's like a jackass funny. We punched you in the face. I'm like, thanks.
I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is Face Punch.
Oh, hilarious. This is hilarious to say we're getting punched in the face is hilarious.
I've laughed very hard during Jackass movies.
Oh, me too, because it's not me. Boy, I crash out so hard if anybody did any of that stuff to me. I'm like, nah, B, I'm going to be in jail because I just can't let that stand.
The alligator in the mom's home. Oh my god, so terrible.
They put
but awesome.
Bam in the snake pit and stuff.
Yeah,
That was great.
All right, so spoilers coming. So we're 4 episodes in. We're about halfway through. This series is going to have 9 episodes for the season, which is nice because sometimes we've complained that 6 is too short. 8 even sometimes feels a little bit too short. So we're going to get 9. Hopefully they can kind of flesh out the story, and hopefully there's a reason they pick 9 because it's not really an even number. So. And it seems like they've planned them out because they're all about the same running time. It's not just like, oh, this was half an hour and then this one's an hour and 20 minutes. You know, they're sort of keeping it to a regular TV sort of schedule or format, which is nice when it's a TV show, right? Like, you kind of wanted to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we feeling about this show so far? What's standing out to you in a positive way? What's standing out to you in a negative way? Brian, I'm kind of interested in your thoughts here first, and then we'll go to Sav.
Oh, my thoughts first. Ooh, so much pressure.
Put your first for a reason, baby.
Under pressure.
I have a lot of thoughts on this show. The thing with the first 4 episodes is that we've
sound
gone
like Donald Trump. We've got a plan. We've got a concept of a plan.
We've got
a concept of an opinion and a thought.
I've got concepts of thoughts.
We got binders full of women in this show.
Actually,
Mitt Romney,
different awful Republican
candidate
person. Anyway, 4 episodes in, every episode.
The show is bipartisan, though. This is for everybody.
Is it?
We have to officially say that we're nonpartisan. You know, it's like
the show.
We're like the ad council.
Oh God.
Brian worked at the ad council, right, for a while?
Yes, I did. For a while too long. Shout out to a friend of the show, Sean, who's still there.
What's up, Sean?
Yeah.
All right.
But he's living his life.
What are your concepts of thoughts here?
So 4 episodes in, we've gotten a lot of different flavors from this show. Which has, I think, has been a delight. Yes. We've run the gamut of the spice cabinet so far. The first episode, as we already kind of described, police procedural. You know, Agatha still stuck in the WandaVision hex. You know, just behaving in this really kind of over the top, kind of great detective story. I was kind of into it.
Yeah, I want to more of that. Actually,
Olivia Benson, what is it, like Olivia Benson energy? Is that the name I'm remembering? Is it Benson?
I have no idea who that is.
From Law and Order,
SVU.
Yeah. Benson
Law
and Order.
Yeah,
Benson
little SVU. A little bit of there was that Kate Winslet HBO small town murder mystery show.
Oh, something about Maritown or something. Nightmare.
Yeah. Exactly. You find a body in the woods, and Catherine Hahn is being a hard boiled detective. She might as well have a toothpick like hanging off her bottom lip that she like flicks at some cop who messed up the evidence.
True detective energy. What was it?
Yeah.
We watched
True Detective energy.
Jodie Foster. That's her name. Jodie Foster. True Detective energy.
For sure. All we needed were some frozen people, and so we get that energy. And Catherine Hahn is phenomenal in that role because it is both serious, right, and and campy at the same time. Like she sort of flows in and out of it. Like the seriousness to let you know, like, oh, kind of MCU can do this. They can actually work these kind of camera angles and shots and this tone, and then slips into the camp to let you know something's off, something's not right. And then she has these strange encounters with Aubrey Plaza that we get into further into the series, and then she's out of it, right? Second episode, making a band with Agatha, right? And so she goes out and recruits other witches to go on the road with her so that she can get her powers back.
It's like the Power Rangers. She needs like one of every type of witch, apparently, and there's different types of witches that they didn't really explain. Yeah,
I mean,
like Voltron. We're just learning as we go.
Sort of, yeah.
Which I like, right? They don't have to like over-explain it. Like, okay, we need 5 types of witches. They're just kind of like, you just watch them start assembling and you kind of get the idea that like, oh, okay, they got to have a diverse portfolio here.
I mean, it's an old school dungeon raid, right? Like if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, ever played any MMORPG, World of Warcraft, any game, Wes, Jesus effing. If you have played any RPG type game where there are roles, this is basically just a dungeon raid, right? Yeah. You have your cleric, you have your healer, you have your tank, your DPS. This is like a classic.
Yeah, DPS.
This is,
is that
DPS. Sarcasm? Do you not know what that is?
Department of Public Safety.
That's right.
Damage per second. Jesus. Point is, this is a classic
there was no
video game
DPS.
dungeon raid.
Take a moment. Go ahead. Just sit back.
I'm gonna get a
breathe.
Viewers, if y'all don't see me on the pod again, it's because I caught a nosebleed and just dropped dead on the show.
I don't understand the joke. What is the J supposed to be involved?
Me neither.
He said,
damage per second.
Damage per second. Jesus. Okay, come on.
That's where you went with that.
Oh my God, I'm gonna break something. Continue. Continue. Jesus.
This is the benefit of not being in person. Yeah. You can break something, man. It won't affect me.
I'll break
Gone
you.
off the rails. Supposedly I was the one keeping this together.
Wes, facilitate, damn it.
I started. I'm so sorry. Keep going. We got it. You gotta have different people.
She's building up the team.
She's building up the team, yeah.
What they do a really great job of in that episode, though,
can't all be running backs.
Not focusing on the positions so much as focusing on the characters. So I think the show has done a great job of really animating all of these side characters, supporting characters for Agatha, and having an interplay between them and them all just being interesting in and of themselves, right? And then once we get on the road, episodes 3 and 4, we got Hamptons Coven, and then we got 70s Rock Coven, and both of those had very different energy. But what was a through line through all these episodes was, one, Agatha and Catherine Hahn just being phenomenal. Delivering the sharp, hard hitting wit and snark and assholery and whatever else you want to call it. And then of course you got all just like the witch lore that they continue to slowly feed us through this series, right? Like we don't know how witchcraft and witchery works in the MCU. This is completely uncharted territory, right? Aside from the Darkhold, Scarlet Witch stuff, like this is going very deep into the arcane for the MCU. They even name drop Mephisto at one point. So
big stuff.
We'll see how all of that develops, and then you got this overarching, big looming threat for Agatha, which is that the Seven Sisters are after her. Another what sounds like a really, really powerful coven, and every time they're depicted on screen, truly delivers some truly horrifying moments. It's where suddenly the spoopiness of Agatha turns into spooky, right? And they come out scary, and there are a few like little scares through every episode, which I think is a boon for the show, being it so Halloweeny. But yeah, it's you know, I've enjoyed the ride so far.
True to form for me. The big picture story, I'm like not actually caring that much about right now. I mean, it's fine. Like they're on the road, they're doing this thing. I haven't necessarily found a reason to care, like whether they succeed or fail. Like these characters are fine, to me. But what I have actually liked is sort of the little drops we're getting in the different episodes about the different characters pass and like what they're trying to like why they are sort of the broken pieces that they are, right? Everyone's kind of got these like major flaws as witches. They're kind of it's like Suicide Squad, right? They're all like the D tier team, and it's like if they were all A tier team, they'd
They're the
already belong.
replacements.
Yeah, they would already belong to like a real coven. So they're all kind of like misfits and kind of thing. And that's a trope that's been done in many shows before. But the details that we're getting, like Alice's mom, we're sort of getting a sense of like they didn't get along very well. They weren't super close sometimes. But they also like she's deeply scarred by her mother's death or disappearance and all of the things that they went through. And we're getting like small little drops of information about like what her mom was dealing with. And like we're hearing her mom scream just blood curdling like terror. And we don't know why. We don't know what her mom was afraid of, and we find out that maybe the song that is the whole through line of this show is like actually wasn't just her attempt at being famous, but maybe it was actually her attempt at protecting her daughter, which changes her whole understanding of like her relationship with her mom, because she doesn't think of her mom as a protector. So I don't know, like I love these like small little things that they're building into the show to make the characters feel real, and I think they've done the best with Alice so far. But I think you could imagine they're probably starting to build up stuff with the Jen character, because she's bound, and I don't even know what that means. I don't think they've explained it, or I wasn't paying attention when they did, and it just clearly means she's got some sort of like a limit on her powers or limit on something, and she's probably trying to become unbound, I'd imagine. And but we don't know like how she does it. She gets a little like nugget, I think, in episode 4 that she got tricked into giving up her power in some way. So I love that like we didn't just get all this information in the first episode and it was just like totally dropped on us, but slowly we're starting to figure things out more about them. So I think that's something the show's done really well. But yeah, I don't know, Sav, what's been standing out to you, positive or negative?
Yeah, the big thing, and I know this is my question going into the show, was is it going to lean into itself and establish its own tone, or is it going to try and do too many different things without any real focus? This show is very unapologetically magical. It's not early Marvel where they tried to emphasize the whole science, magic is science we don't understand. It's like, yeah, maybe this is just straight up magic with all the classic tropes. There's no trying to change it up or interpret it differently to make it more palatable for audiences. We're talking cauldrons, the cheesy stuff, very blatant Salem and vampire references. Like, it's very almost on the nose, but not in a bad way. It's just very unapologetic. I think that works for the show very well because, again, it's not trying to be something. It's not trying to downplay what it is. This is a really, really queer show about witches and shit. And it unapologetically leans into that. You have a diverse cast of women of all ages and ranges and backgrounds. You have multiple like characters who have lovers of the same gender. You have Agatha's whole thing with what's
Aubrey
Rio.
Plaza's.
with Rio. Teen has his boyfriend. They got lines with even the other witches, like see Aubrey Plaza, and it's like, shit, she kind of bad. I don't know, shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
I don't
her
know if
a
I'm
number.
scared if I want to holler, but like, this isn't that like, oh, we're gonna beat around the bush. Now we got magical gay characters, and we're all in on this shit, and it's all Superwoman and all that, and it works because, again, they're not trying to downplay that for an audience that maybe wouldn't have been into the show in the first place. So the show has a very strong sense of identity that I think works. In addition to that, and how they lean into that, and I was reading a little bit about the production of the show. One thing they do a lot of, and the showrunner was very intentional, was using practical effects and sets whenever possible. So a lot of the scenes where they're in the road, in the forest, all of that, it's all practical. The trees, they made all those things themselves, the slides. So the lack of, and they said they wanted it to kind of evoke imagery of old school horror movies where everything was practical because technology literally didn't exist. So again, much like what worked really well with WandaVision being homage to these old vintage TV shows, right, where they changed the filters and the aspect ratio and the costuming, this show does the same in its own way. Each challenge, them having, like, just me, like, I was watching this with Tony. One of my favorite parts was every time they go into a new test and there's a new time period set piece, I'm like, can we just pause and look at the fits? Like,
Hamptons.
they are cooking, especially
hair,
the potions
hair
witch
and makeup, right? Like all
What?
comes together. Yeah.
and even the potions witch. I'm like, she bald. What they finna do with her? And I'm like, oh man, her wigs are slaying. Their fits are vicious. Even the older premonition lady who suddenly had like the black short, almost Liza Minnelli looking cut. And I was like, oh man, this is the costuming and just how they put together the set pieces and just the production value of the show is chef's kiss. It's well done, thoughtful, but still stylistic, which I think is different between a show where you throw a bunch of money at things looking cool and things look good because it was just done with intention and care. So the fact that this show is just made with a lot of love and care, from what I can tell, and is itself is something that made me appreciate it more, because I recognize I'm not the target audience immediately, but this was made knowing who their audience was and unapologetically so. And I think that just shows in little moments of the show.
Sav, do you mind that the show also, though, feels small in the sense that most of the episode happens within one set?
No, I think it's fine. I think that evokes that old school feel too. Because again, this show is already giving Wizard of Oz. We're traveling the road. I told this in the pre-show. They're traveling the road. It's a bunch of witches. There's witches and shit in Wizard of Oz. I think you even saw some Wizard of Oz imagery in one of the trailers. I think because I think they're really going to lean into this. But this is already giving that old school vintage movie TV show vibe where it was in a studio that only really had one set, so you might not have a bazillion different set pieces. I think it's intentionally done. I think it's well done, and it lets these really well put together sets shine. Like, it's not like nothing interesting is happening. Lots of cool, dope shit is still happening, but it's in a more intimate, stylized space that I think works. And speaking of small, I think what also works for this show in terms of size is I'm glad that Marvel shows seem to finally be landing in where the comics are, and that it doesn't have to be hyper connected for it to still be good and to relevantly exist in that universe. Because comics
Just
are already
remember
like
you
that.
said that when we get to the next episode where we talk about Penguin. Just remember.
Oh, well, I don't like DC and I don't like Batman characters, so like that's a whole nother.
The rules don't apply to DC.
All right, sounds good.
I like it.
Yeah. Are we enjoying these magical depictions and the depictions of how they're using their magic? Sav, it sounds like you're on board. Brian, are you good with how they're sort of doing the magic? The magics?
I like that it is not the WandaVision version of witchcraft, which was let's fire colorful energy beams at each other from our hands. Right? That is very much a product of too much superhero nonsense, right? Just like power beams, red versus purple, right? That's, to me, that does not evoke witchcraft or the huge lore of witchcraft that exists in TVs, movies, literature, right? So I think here in Agatha we get something a lot more subtle, which is teen has a sigil on him, and we see weird ink letters sewing up his mouth when he tries to say his name or talk about himself, right? That, like, to me, that's, oh, okay, this person has some sort of hex on him. We get the potion, which is cooking up a potion in a cauldron using Eye of Newt, which is just mustard seed or whatever, or like the aged
the
guts
honey from
of
a youth social
insect, which is
the gut honey.
Which is honey.
So
it's
much.
just honey, right? And and just like all using that kind of language, using a spell book, doing incantations, drinking potions, and also the weird stuff happening as well, right? Like when they're in that Hamptons escape room, right, and they're drinking the wine and all their faces start blowing up. That to me, that evokes some of the more fun Halloween style movies from yesteryear, right? And it's kind of just like a great fun campy moment. But on top of that, you also get the scary stuff. You get like
The curse,
the
right?
dark lights in the kitchen, and here's somebody from your past creeping at you that you thought was dead, and now they're back. And yeah, episode 4 with the curse, right? We see this fiery demon with giant bat wings trying to grab Asian witch. I forget her name.
All
Alice.
practical.
Trying to grab her shoulders. Yeah. Which while she's lit on fire, I think all of that was very much in tone with what I want to see from witchcraft, right? It wasn't shooting powers out of your hands that don't make any sense and don't mean anything, but it was about spells, it was about incantations, about hexes and curses, and and fire and darkness. All that stuff to me creates like a nice tight imagery that really just evokes a different part of the MCU that we haven't seen. It evokes dark magic that we know, especially from the credits, we know that they are referencing, right? In the credits they show stuff from like the Coven and like Hocus Pocus or whatever, like all these other witch movies. And so the show is really speaking in that language. And so I appreciate that about this. Like it feels, compared to the rest of the MCU, it makes this particular show feel fresh by the fact that it is referencing all that other material.
Absolutely.
All right, so we get a chance to now speculate. I want to hear what you guys think, because honestly, I have no idea where this is going. Do either of you have an idea of where we're going? If we're thinking this is going to be a little bit of an allegory of Wizard of Oz, they're going to reach the end and find that it's kind of a sham. But we know that Alice has already done it once, so that doesn't feel like that's where they can go with it. But we'll see. I don't know.
I don't think Agatha did it. I think she a liar.
Oh, okay.
Like that's my theory. Like she's so shisty and she's so charismatic. But you have to remember, out of everybody in this group, she's by far the least likable, and is by far the biggest dick of everybody here.
Nobody wants to be on her team.
Nobody likes Agatha at all. They're like, hey, yo, watch your back. Oh, when she mean sacrifice babies. I'm like, dang, the most infamous witch on like the continent. I'm like, dang, Agatha, the streets do not rock with you.
No.
And it's making it hard for me to rock with you, and I'm just waiting for your shice. I mean, in the first episode, she literally tried to insult them into blasting her with magic so that she could get her powers back. Like, she immediately started just disrespecting them people to incite a fight. Like, Agatha's a jerk, and I love it, but I'm curious to see. I know that she's a snake, but I don't know how her snake behavior either is gonna play out actively or come back to bite her in the butt. Because there's hints of like the child isn't hers, but she had the dark hold, but you gotta trade stuff for it, and it's like, all right, she did something awful and unforgivable, but clearly there's more to it. I just don't have any idea of how. But then my other big question is, they said that this is supposed to still tie into like a loose trilogy with WandaVision and then the eventual Vision show. So I don't know if they're gonna try and make a direct tie or a loose tie, or if maybe it's not important till the Vision show, but like those bigger picture things also leave me confused. All I know for certain is that Agatha's a snake, not a hot take at all.
Yeah.
But I want to see how her snake behavior manifests. Other than that, man, I'm shooting in the dark like y'all.
Okay. Brian, you got
so
any
if it's
ideas?
Wizard of Oz, is White Vision the guy behind the curtain? Is he the wizard?
I hope not.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. I would hate that his self-discovery quest turned into him somehow being in the. No, I don't think all that. But
we're gonna zoom out at the end, and it's gonna be Doctor Strange holding her in a spell.
I don't want that. I really don't want that. I hope we learn more, and I assume we will. We'll learn more about Agatha's son and her trading the sun for the dark hole or whatever. But the other thing that has to happen, right, is this whole tension with Rio. Are they gonna fight or are they gonna?
Yes.
So like that's gonna come to a head at some point, and of course you can't forget that the Seven Sisters, this other coven of powerful witches, is out there and after Agatha. So at some point, Agatha is gonna have to face up to her misdeeds over the years and come to a head. I assume that her new coven, her ragtag group of replacement witches, are going to feel differently and feel conflicted about the final choice facing them, but they'll probably step up to the plate and help out their girl, and they'll also have redeemed themselves on the road in maybe an unexpected way. They won't get exactly what they were looking for, but they will be
They'll get what
better
they
for
need.
it, right? They'll get the redemption they need, and employ that somehow in helping Agatha at the end. Like that's how I expect this to play out. I do hope though that the show finds a way to subvert our expectations in a fun way. Maybe I hope it's not like some crazy left turn villain that shows up at the end, but that it's something more in line with what's going on in the story. But that whatever awaits them at the end of the road is something that sort of shakes up this basic plot line that they're going through at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's wrap this
quick
up.
thing.
Yeah.
I had a theory.
Oh, okay.
I remember I did have a theory I forgot about. My theory is that Rio, I think, is maybe the Marvel character Blackheart. That's my theory. Blackheart is known as is Mephisto's son. If you saw the old Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies, he was actually the main villain of the first Ghost Rider movie. Not a great movie back then, but whatever. But the fact that her character magical, clearly has other powers, and she's clearly different than the other ones. She's
referred to as the Blackheart, right?
She literally mentioned a Blackheart. I'm like, that's a little on the nose. We've gotten a Mephisto name drop, and specifically about agents of Mephisto. Mephisto's child Blackheart would be the perfect agent of Mephisto. And that would explain maybe why she wants bodies at the end. There was some kind of weird deal with her and Agatha of, some kind of they get this, you get this type deal. But that's the only other theory I have. Also, quickly, Agatha's coven building leaves a lot to be desired. They're getting bargain bin green witches, couldn't get a strong starting five. Then they had to recruit off the bargain bin and get a witch off waivers who's a big chemistry hit. I don't think they're going to make it all the way to the playoffs or play-in. I don't think they're going to be able to win the championship this year.
Wow.
We'll see how the road looks. Back to you, Ernie.
That's fair. They got to make a trade. They got to make a trade at the trade deadline.
You cannot win the road with Agatha Harkness as your strongest and your best witch. I just do not believe it. She's a second
She is
team.
not a 1A.
She is bad. She is not a bus driver. She's bad for team chemistry. I think if you get rid of her, it's addition by subtraction, and they'll be better off for it. Keen is a new young comer. He's a rookie. They can do stuff with him, but until they get rid of Agatha, this team has a hard ceiling.
You're saying they should do a full rebuild around Teen.
They have not committed to a rebuild. Agatha does not want to start fresh. This team is gonna have a hard ceiling, Steve. All right, I'm done. I just had to get that off my chest. Let's keep it moving.
That's fair. All right, let's start wrapping it up. Rating so far, since you guys hate however I ask it to you, so you just rate it. You could do letters, numbers, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, you really offended. I'll be listening to him.
My rating is, this is kind of so-so. I'm a so-so so far, but it's also early. I feel like we're halfway through, and I kind of feel myself being like, do I really care about how they're gonna end this up? And I'm like, if I stopped watching tomorrow, I don't think that my life would be worse off for it. So it can't be that high of a rating. I'm going with 3 stars out of 5 stars. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's watchable. There's some enjoyable moments. At the end of the day, am I locked in? Nah, not really. I could be on my phone and still be kind of like, I get what's going on a little bit
Are we
here.
locked in?
Yeah, I'm not all the way in it. I'm not super invested in any of the outcomes here. If they make it, great. If they don't make it, also great. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know how to feel about this connection with MCU or not that Sav's talking about. It's so far it's not really been that connected, and I think that's working for it. At the same time, it's kind of like, well, part of me wants to be a little bit connected. Like, it'd be nice if there's some some little nuggets here or there for us that make something else make sense or later on, but not at the cost of making a good show, right? That's not what I'm saying. But it'd be nice if there were some things that do actually connect it. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. So I'm at 3. Brian, where you at?
Important to note for our listeners that for Wes's rating, that at the top of the show, Wes was like, "Why are they on the road?" Like, Wes was clearly not exactly watching very carefully and closely
No,
what's going on.
I don't think
in this.
watches
Definitely not.
anything carefully.
So
I picked up on some
Yeah,
details.
do
I
you,
saw some
Wes?
details. Yeah.
Wes, I'd be
I
confused
think I
by
watched
you,
the later
man.
episodes, like 3 and 4. I think I watched more carefully than I did 1 and 2. Sav, what?
This man
Oh, wait.
half watches shows
Okay,
and
fine.
also is not easily impressed.
Brian, what's your
that's-
rating then?
I think the
So far.
show is very
Midterm grade.
entertaining.
Okay.
Is very much to me like a breath of fresh air. It's like I said, I wasn't entirely eager to watch it. I knew that I would. But ever since I turned it on, me and Anna have been tickled and have been looking forward to every new episode. We were not tracking any shows for a while, for the past few months. And this is one of those things that just pulled us in, and has us, eager for the subsequent episodes. So, I'm going with 75 out of 100 black cats and witch wands or something, because I do think this is like perfect for the Halloween season. It's spoopy up to the brim of your witch's hat. It's fun. It's campy. I think Catherine Hahn is probably the best villain in the MCU in terms of just how entertaining and watchable she is.
I can agree with that.
I could have tons of more Agatha. Like, she's great. Like, honestly, to some degree, I didn't need all the side characters. I could just watch her. Right? I think she's that good. And the show just like gives you all the Halloween delights. If that's a season for you, and it is for me. So, I'm enjoying the heck out of this.
Nice. Sav.
Geez, 75 or 3. Y'all understand that if these were grades in school, you'd be bringing
That's
home
not
like
how it
a
works.
C,
It's
right?
not how it works. It's not how it works.
It would be a C.
It's not how it works. Keep
yeah,
going.
C's passing, man.
If I told my mom, hey man,
not all of us were straight A students like you, Savon. So
I told
you got to
anybody-
take it where you can get it.
if someone rated anything as a C to me, that means this is not worth watching. But different grading scales.
It means it's passable.
I think the show is refreshing. I think it's been entertaining. I think similar, Brian. I haven't had a lot of shows on my this is coming out every week. Let's watch it right before it comes out. Me and Tony have found ourselves like, hey, WandaVision coming out. I mean, not WandaVision. Agatha coming out today, huh? Yeah. Oh shit, let's watch it. Like, we tried to watch the other day, and it's like, it's 8:30. It doesn't come on for another half hour. Oh crap, we gotta watch something else until the new episode drop, and then
Exactly.
all right, let's watch this episode. So I feel like that alone speaks to like I want to watch more. I think this show for me, especially because it's refreshing, I think that's really what's nice, is that it's just new stuff that I haven't really seen. I will give this show a solid B plus with the potential to be in the A- range depending on how they do these next few episodes.
Oh,
But
high on it.
but
You're
also
buying, you're buying the Agatha stock.
yeah, but I'm also like I feel like I'm less a harsh critic than y'all. For me, if a show is watched, is entertained, and I'm like, yo, I dedicated hours of my free time to watch this, and I want to watch more of it, that's
And
a
it must be decent.
That's a
Yeah.
B at the bare minimum for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna watch a show on purpose that I consider below a B. That's not a good
Yeah, it
use of my
feels to me
time.
like a 3 stars should be equivalent to a 75 out of 100, but it sounds like Brian's actually higher in the show than I am. So maybe
yeah,
mine's
I mean, we
A
count stuff
3
differently.
A 3 out of 5. If
It's
you
like
do the
middling.
math, is 60 out
Oh
of
my God.
100.
not how it works.
That's a D.
Yeah, but it's like middling, you know.
That's a D that is a point away from a F.
Yeah, that's, I mean, middling. I mean, this goes along with how Wes was describing it.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out, I think this is probably the best quality MCU show for the most part. It's in the top tier. And that's not saying much, right? A lot of these MCU shows are not good. So to me, Agatha is really outclassing almost all of them.
All right. Fair enough. All right. If you were part of a magical coven to walk the road, you get forced into this situation and you need to survive. Who are you bringing? Sorry, what? Not who are you bringing? That'd be an interesting question too. What are you bringing to the table? What is your power set? What's your contribution to the team? Savon, are you bringing your speech and debate powers?
No, not at all.
What are you bringing?
I'm the encyclopedia kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one who has enough.
Encyclopedia Brown.
God. I'm the guy who's like,
We've seen the atlas.
Yeah, look,
this is real.
If I'm in this show, I'm the walking exposition character who I might not have a specific skill set, but I'm able to look around and be like, oh, this is what they want us to do. This is what we need to do, guys, based on thing I know, but it's up to y'all to actually use your skills to do the thing. I'm the one who can say, hey, yo, we got to make some kind of potion. I'm not going to actually know how to make the potion, you know? I'm going to be able to say, hey, there's a curse, and we got to do something about this curse. This is what we need to do to stop the curse. I'm not going to have the skill to do the thing. I just have the skill of knowing the thing to do. Basically like the coach. Basically, I can't dunk, but I'm like, hey, yo, Wes, you got to dunk that shit. Hey, yo, Brian, you got a backdoor cut for the layup, and then we're good. It's like, can you cut? Absolutely not.
Your knees are too bad for that.
I am on my Stan Van Gundy. Like, don't ask me. I couldn't jump over a phone book.
But you are bringing all of the information and knowledge, all the spells that are known to mankind, or which kind?
Almost like a floor general. I could be the warlock Chris Paul of the group.
We're going to talk about that in a second. Brian, who are you bringing to the table? What's your skill set that you're bringing to the table? Your contribution?
So we talked about like RPG groupings. I play in the Halloween season. I like to play this card game called Arkham Horror, right? Like in the Cthulhu kind of universe. And you play these investigators and they're of different classes, right? So the class that Savon just talked about, right, being that erudite encyclopedia guy, that's usually the seeker type. So you got like characters who are librarians and researchers, and their cards usually are books filled with information, and they're good at finding clues in the game, right? Then you got guardian types who are, the people that fight the monsters usually, right? And you equip them with guns and weapons and stuff like that. Then you got Anna likes to play the survivor characters, and these are characters who just scrape by. They succeed by failing. There's mystic characters. Mystics are like, they wear the amulets. They use the magical books. They have the candles that help them do magic spells, whatever. And then the last class of character is called the rogue. Similar to what you'd find in other role-playing games, and the rogue just like does crazy shit, right? Like they have cards like, oh, liquid courage. Like you could play the card liquid courage and suddenly you're good at all the skill tests, but next round you're gonna be effed up, right? Or lucky draw, and on the card is like a picture of a royal flush or something like that, and like they just like get out of jams because they had a lucky hand or whatever. So definitely the rogue, the wild card, X factor, that's what I'm bringing to the table. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of the jam, but I am gonna do it. I'm gonna do it with style, right? Because I'm rolling like I'm rolling craps. Or I'm not rolling. Yeah, I'm rolling craps, but I bet on the not pass line. So that's how I'm taking I'm taking the road on this one, and kind of trying to add that maybe a little bit of J.R. Smith energy. You kind of need somebody that can hit
Irrational
the
confidence.
that can hit the turnaround 1 foot fadeaway three at the most important moment of the game, and you're like, holy shit, why would he do that? But he hit it, and you're so glad he's on your squad.
He's
So
someone who's not afraid. You need to,
I
he
hear
might
you.
be drunk during the game.
JR gives, JR takes away.
Yeah,
he's
I'm also
generally
going to
giving
forget
more.
to follow up the missed free throw with a game-winning shot, and call timeout instead.
J.R. Smith can do more wrong to me because of what he did in the 2016 finals. I'm like, you know what? You did enough to where there's nothing you can do can undo that.
He really bungled that game though. All
Yeah.
right. I first of all have to get this off my chest. So I got around to editing our last show where Brian and Sav did their own little pod on the fall preview. Go listen to that if you haven't. It's very good.
You asked us to do a podcast without you.
I did do that, and we
and
thought
Brian both were willing to like wait. We both were like, we'll wait. It's like, no. I'm like,
just
all
do
right.
it. Yeah, we can't wait on things like that. So we, and when we and Brian did our duo pods, we really go off the rails. Like both of us are just not with it. We
Is
do not talk
Savon the rail? Wow,
Yeah.
I've never considered that at all.
I'm a fun rail. Like I railroad it, but I keep it fun of keeping us on track. But
but then these hating ass motherfuckers, they compared me and said, I'm bringing the Chris Paul to this show, which I get on an intellectual level because, there's some distribution here. I got to keep it moving.
Hall of Famer Chris Paul, okay.
Hall
one
of
of the greatest point guards of all time.
One of the greatest
guard.
They call him the point guard, and it's not an inaccurate name.
But he is such an unlikable person to his core, and as a basketball player and as a public persona, I have no idea how he is personally. He might be the greatest man, personally, but
public persona. He on the State Farm commercials, dishing
State Farm pitchman Chris Paul, who's
Cliff Paul.
One of his
Cliff Paul.
Just terrible. And one of his, attributes is that he like punches people in the nuts. He gets like really upset when someone tries to like be friendly with him. When Pau Gasol like touched his hair, he just like flipped the fuck out. Like
the dude, there's a grown man head.
There's something wrong with him.
That's so disrespectful.
There's just something
he was trying
wrong
to
with
son
him.
him. That ain't right.
I don't think that's what it was.
What, Wes?
Pau Gasol is the nicest person you've ever met.
If anybody,
you want me to show you the photo where he's like pulling the ends of his eyes to make fun of Chinese people?
Yeah, but that didn't mean he was trying to celebrate that they were going to Beijing, and
not that
How can you defend that? Oh my god!
I'm not excusing it.
Boy,
I'm just saying I don't think it was.
I don't want to see what it looks like when he celebrates going to Africa.
It just wasn't. I'm just saying it wasn't mean. That's all. It was bad and terrible, and I think they should have apologized, which I think they ended up doing.
He got his Pau Gasol jersey on. He don't want to say nothing too loud. He gonna get struck by lightning.
I got my LeBron jersey on today. Lakers are back, baby. Also, we had first pregame yesterday. We're looking all right. So Chris Paul, I just object to that. I don't want to be known as Chris Paul of this group. I understand that there's some things there, but Hayden, just not a great comparison. So what would I bring to the road? I'm not gonna lie. I'm my self-confidence right now is not super high after all that. So I don't know that I would bring anything super productive to the road and to the crew and the coven. I would probably have to bring my powers of enthusiasm and optimism. I'd keep the energy high. I'd be encouraging.
Vibes guy.
Yeah, I'm encouraging everybody. I'm being the glue guy. Hey, I know that we didn't roll up how we wanted to on that one, but Sav, you're gonna get it back on the next one, bro. I got faith in you. Brian, you pulled a little bit of a crazy move there, and it really worked out. Like, keep bringing that energy, man. I want to see you cook. Like, let's go. That's gonna be my vibe on the Coven, because I certainly can't remember any spells. Like, we know that's not gonna happen. I'm not terribly athletic, so I'm not going to be the fast moving, Makari or Flash type character. I'm not particularly strong, so I'm not going to be like the guy who's like battling like Voldemort and Harry Potter and Goblet of Fire. It's just I'm gonna have to be the feelings guy. You know, I'm the let's keep it all together when we have our dark moments and tough moments and challenges. I'm gonna bring that because that's what I got to do on a daily basis, anyways. So
Wes, I think you might have described Chris Paul. He is
No,
not the
Chris
most
Paul-
athletic. He's
Chris
not
Paul
the
brings
biggest.
vibes down, though. He
He holds the team
people to high
together.
he holds people to high
He
standards.
brings out the best in others.
Every
Did he
team
not do
Chris
that with
Paul-
DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah, but people get
Is
tired
he not
of him.
going to do that
Wes,
with Wemby?
People get tired of him.
Wes, every team that Chris Paul has played for has had all-time success during his
And
time.
then-
there.
Winners.
and then they
are
kicked him out.
winners because
Okay,
he's there.
In fact,
then they
every
kicked him
team
out.
he's played for has had their most winning season with him on the roster.
And then they kicked him
Clippers,
out.
the Thunder, the Rockets.
The
You
And they said,
the
thanks, but no
Suns.
thanks. We're
This
going
isn't-
in a
the
different
Suns.
This
direction.
isn't about you
Well, 'cause
liking
he's
Chris
old.
Paul. Yeah, because he old and get hurt, but that doesn't mean he's bad.
And because
at
he grates on
basketball.
people. No, he's good at basketball. He just grates on people. I don't want to be that guy.
Michael Jordan graded on people. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that as
I don't
long as
wanna
you're
be that guy.
good.
Well,
He punched Steve Kerr in the face, and
You a
Steve Kerr
Lakers
loves him.
fan. Kobe Bryant might be one of the most
that's
dickish
why Kobe
NBA
Bryant
players
isn't my
ever.
favorite player. That's why Kobe Bryant
In
is my
fact,
favorite
the
player.
only reason Kobe Bryant isn't one of the most hated is because he dead and won a bunch of rings.
Oh my god. He's not wrong.
not
And
not,
as a
not untrue.
rapist.
That's
Like, I'm just saying, you got to keep it a buck. Like,
not my favorite player. That's
but
I agree.
but-
I don't like Kobe
but-
for the same
but-
reasons.
But how many people would be like, yo, you want Kobe on your team? Low key. I would want Kobe on my team, and I hate Kobe. I don't need a personality contest. I want to win. Now, if we could win and you be likable, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I ain't trying to lose and you pass the vibe check. I'm okay with winning, even if it's the most toxic championship
I didn't say
ever.
I'd be the strongest character on the team. You just asked what I would bring.
Look, Shaq and Kobe.
You might leave me behind and be
Shaq
like,
and
we
Kobe-
don't need that.
Shaq and Kobe
Free
won them
agency
rings.
for you.
Shaq and Kobe won them rings, and the vibes were awful. And you know what? I'll take it if it's a ring.
Fair enough. All right, friends. That'll do it for us on Agatha. Your homework is to watch Penguin. We're going to talk about the first episode. It debuted on HBO Max about a week ago. So let's talk about Colin Farrell on his turn as the Penguin and getting more of a spotlight. He showed up briefly in the Batman. But let us know what you think about Agatha. Are you enjoying it? Is it something that you're going to keep watching? Do you enjoy that this little slice of the MCU is kind of taking on a different tone in its own tone? Or are you wishing for more of that connection, more of that like togetherness with the MCU, cohesiveness, you might say? And then also, first of all, tell Brian and Sav why I'm not Chris Paul, because that guy's a douchebag. All right, friends.
Should we sing our outro in honor of Agatha? We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, do it. How's our outro go?
Down, down, down the confidently wrong road. Come on, guys.
I like it. I like it.
When the hell do we talk about this?
You can't just spring this on us last minute, Brian. I need
I
time
don't know
to
what's going on.
to
I need
prepare my
know.
vocals,
Dude, I just rolled the dice. That's how I roll.
All right. Well, you
Enjoy
came
the
up
rest
with
of
a
your day,
one.
listeners.
Friends, we're out of here. See you later. Bye.
We out.
Bye bye. We out now.